Okay guys, this is the second part of our look at the new carts. In this video we're going to be having a look at Piko Arcade 1 on the Evercade. Let's go. Okay guys, here is Piko Arcade 1. Let's have a look at it. We've got 9 games included, so a little bit better value than we've seen recent. They're all original arcade games that Piko have obviously picked up the license for. I think they came from one of the eastern countries. I can't really remember what the name was called again, but we'll find out when we get in the box. There's some information on some of the games. So 9 games. Most of these I've definitely never heard of or played much of until obviously we've seen these announced on this collection. I did play Steel Force recently, which I think it was because it was on Pie Packer. But yeah, really interesting collection of a lot of hidden gems maybe. Let's have a look. We've got the Piko Arcade 1 cart, which again, I love the design of these. These are really, really nice. Let's have a look at the manual. There is no freebies in this one. There is just the manual, which seems a little bit thick. Obviously there's more games. So we've got a little bit about Piko Interactive, and oh yeah, that's the name of the company that most of these games belong to, was Unico, which I think Piko's obviously picked up the licenses for, which is pretty cool. So let's have a look at the game. So we've got Dragon Master. It's kind of, I think this is a one-on-one fighting game, which was quite tricky if I remember. Can play 2-player games. A little bit of breakdown of the moves and the characters. That's quite cool. Nice to be included. Master's Fury. I think this might have been the sequel to the other game. I think so. Another sort of one-on-one beat 'em up. You've got your list of moves there, which is nice. And again, you've got a breakdown of the characters and the moves. And then we've got this single screen sort of game, Fancy World Earth of Crisis. An absolutely horrific name, but yeah, I think this one was quite fun if I remember right. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays on your Evercade. Another sort of single screen sort of clear 'em up game if you like. Magic Purple. Love the names, really cool. Legend of Silk Road. This is a kind of a beat 'em up, a scrolling beat 'em up, which is cool. I quite enjoyed that one when I had a bash at that. And this one is probably the weirdest game you'll ever play. It's Burglar X, and yet, look at that, we even have a fart button. Every game should have a fart button, shouldn't it? We've got Ultimate Tennis. Hopefully this one is better than all the tennis games we've got in Evercade, because most of them are really awful. Got Steel Force. This is kind of like an Alien Breed top-down shooter kind of thing, though a little bit more arcadey and action-packed maybe. Diver Boy, another kind of single screen thing, but this one was pretty cool. Unusual, and just your list of cartridges. Let's have a quick bash on the EXP and then the VS. Okay, here we go, and we've got Burglar X, Diver Boy, Dragon Master, Fancy World, Earth of Crisis, and all the rest. Pretty cool. Not sure what game I'm going to sort of trial here. I'm thinking Steel Force. That one's the one that I kind of enjoyed the most. Let's have a quick bash at that, and then we'll play on the VS. Okay, let's just zoom to the action, please. Oh, it's difficult not to enjoy this. It is just an absolute mad arcade blast 'em up. Hold your button on the fire and just enjoy. Yeah, this is fun. I'm pretty sure everyone will enjoy playing through this one. Even if you're not good at it, it really doesn't matter. Just enjoy it. Anyway guys, let's get this onto the VS. Okay, here we go. We've got all 9 games on the Evercade VS. Going to start just at the usual, at the beginning, with the weirdest game you'll ever play, which is Burglar X. And there's a... I don't really know what the point of this game is. You're obviously some kind of burglar, I'm imagining, and you're trying to escape... I don't know, you've got some loot, you're trying to escape the cops, the people, I don't know, enemies of some sorts, and you've got a fart button at your disposal as well, which is great. Every game really should have one of those, I guess. But yeah, let's have a bash at this. This is really, really odd. Now, this is probably a recurring theme on this collection. The games are a little bit weird and different, but that doesn't mean they're bad. Obviously, right away, sneak peek, this cart is fantastic. There's some real great, unusual games to play here. So, the kind of idea of this sort of level here is you need to collect enough coins to escape and then move on to the next one. You see at the top left you've got 25 coins still to collect. Now you need to smash, sort of headbutt the dice or die, and as you can see here, it's obviously turning. If you hit it at the right time, obviously I want to hit it when you get it's at 6, you get 6 coins obviously, and if it's 1 you only get 1 coin. So it's all about timing as well to how many coins you actually get. And obviously, yeah, you've got the enemies chasing you. You can use your fart button, or you can headbutt them out the way, or you can actually use a bomb and drop that. I'm not talking about the fart, I'm talking about the bomb. You can also drop a bomb and that will explode maybe after about 4 or 5 seconds. There's going to be a lot of farty jokes here in this one, but yeah, you know, this one is really good fun to play. Once you figure out what you're supposed to do, it's quite cool. There's even power-ups like this little bike where you can basically mow down all the enemies, collect all the things you need to collect. Pay a close attention to the map. Obviously at times it does feel like you're just wandering about aimlessly, but if you look at the map in the bottom left hand corner, you can see obviously red is enemy and green are the dice that you need to sort of headbutt to get the coins to release, so that you can then move on to the next level. There's other power-ups as well, but I've not quite worked out what everything actually does yet. And there's no doubt this game, probably like most of the games on this collection, that are all coin guzzlers. They're just after coin, and obviously they're arcade games, so that's going to be expected. So at times they can be a bit difficult. You're going to lose life after life after life, but thankfully we can just put in another coin and keep playing on and enjoy the game as it's meant to be on Evercade, so that'd be great. But this is weird. There's no doubt this game is weird, but it's fun. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, there's boss levels as well. There's also levels where you just kind of run to the end and just avoid all the enemies, which is really bizarrely weird. The whole game is just bizarrely weird, but it's a lot of fun to actually play. I really enjoyed this one. Okay, moving on to just as weird a game. This one is Diver Boy, where you're obviously Diver Boy, and you're trying to sort of dive down the ocean and collect all the pearls. As usual, look at the blurb here. There's not a lot of information about these games. Evercade have wrote here that there's not a lot of information, there's not a lot of history to go back on to sort of give you some background to these games, so there's not a lot to go on here. But the game itself is really, really good. It is quite addictive. Now, you'll probably notice a lot of the sound effects are very reminiscent of Tumble Pop. I mean, everything about this, for the music, the noises, when you die, everything just sounds very familiar. You can see here that there's obviously pearls opened up. You really should open them, sort of collect them in that order that they open up so that you get more points. Doesn't really matter, to be honest, doesn't really make a lot of difference unless you are a sort of high score hunter. Then you'll probably want to be collecting them in that order so you get more points, more bonuses, that type of thing. There are lots of bonuses that you can collect through the game. There's even a sort of submarine where you can sort of take out the enemy and fire upon the enemy. I don't know what that's all about. Utterly bizarrely weird as per normal for this collection. But this is very addictive. It's great fun. I don't necessarily think you can. I think you can hold your breath as long as possible. It doesn't really matter. I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't really think that was a thing in the game. But yeah, there's lots of bonuses. You can see here all the sort of pearls are now opened up. You can just collect them at your will now. But so many things happening in this game, lots of different enemies, different style levels. There's also boss levels as well, which are absolutely ridiculous. The amount of continues are wasted trying to actually dispose of the first boss was just a joke. And you kind of get the feeling that in the arcade you probably were not meant to actually get that far. And it just feels like there's no way you're getting past that without a trillion coins to get through there. So there's no doubt this is a huge coin guzzler of a game. But obviously on the Evercade it doesn't really matter, it's no big deal, you just keep putting in another coin. But obviously if you fancy the challenge and you want to limit yourself to a certain amount of coins, you can obviously do that on the VS or Evercade EXP if you want. I'm not sure I would ever want to do that, but yeah. Anyway, overall I think this game is really, really good fun. And it's one of those ones that's just I've never heard of, never played, but it's nice to have. It's like one of these little hidden gems that's out there that I guess most people have probably never heard of or played, just like me. Okay, moving on to Dragon Master. This is the first of the one-on-one beat-em-ups. This one is probably, according to this, is the best well-known. Now you can play these games as two players as well, might be more enjoyable, because as a single-player experience, these games are really, really tough. I guess these games were made to sort of compete with the sort of Street Fighter 2 craze that was going on in the early 90s. And there's no doubt that this is a good looking game. Graphics are absolutely fine, lots of great moves for the character. There's lots of different moves. I guess you really need to refer to the manual and try and work out some of the moves. A lot of the moves are quite similar, with just sort of the crescent on the D-pad and utilising some of the buttons. Just mess about with that or utilise the manual, try and learn the moves for whatever character you choose, because you really are going to use or utilise those special moves. It'll make a massive difference. But even in saying that, this game is rock solid hard, and I mean that. This game is unbelievably tough. I don't think I've actually got past the first level stage yet. I just cannot get past it at all. It doesn't really matter what character I go. The characters don't really differ an awful lot. It's not like Street Fighter where your characters differ massively from sort of Gail, Ryu to Blanca to that kind of thing. The characters all seem a bit samey to me, and the moves are all a bit samey, but oh, the enemies are unbelievably ferociously difficult to beat. A few times I thought I was actually close. I changed the characters a few times to try and see if that makes any difference, but I struggled. I think this is one you're going to have to keep learning, keep playing and practicing before you get anywhere. For me, I just couldn't get anywhere, and I found it an absolute struggle. And I'm not saying this is a bad game, because clearly there's a lot of good things about this game, but for me, I didn't enjoy the experience and it was far too difficult. But in saying that, I think there'll be people out there that will really enjoy that. If you like Street Fighter 2 hyper fighting on the XP, then I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy this experience as well. Okay, after that rather brutal experience, we're moving on to Fancy World Earth of Crisis. And this game is just as weird as every other game on this collection. No clue what is going on, and even Blazer admitting here they don't have a lot of history on the game as per usual. It's pretty straightforward to play, very easy to pick up. It's a single screen game where you need to clear the enemies, move on to the next stage, and then you get a boss fight, and then you move on to a different part of the world. It's really enjoyable, to be honest. This is probably my favourite one of the single screen games on here, but just do not ask what's going on with the story here, because I haven't got a clue. Just weird, just bizarre, it makes no sense, so just ignore that and try and enjoy the game for what it is. It's a good blast. Clear the screen of all the enemies with your sort of fireballs and then move on to the next level. There's lots of hidden bonuses here and there. You could even play this as a two-player game if you want to. Again, it's another coin guzzler where you're going to die lots of times, especially at the boss fights, because they're just brutally difficult. But I really enjoyed this one. It is good fun to actually play. It's really tough not to like this one. It's very reminiscent of Tumble Pop and Snow Brothers and other similar games of that type. And this one's just as good as them, I think. It really is great fun to play. Okay, moving on to Magic Purple, which is kind of similar to the previous game. It's just as weird. You're this anthropomorphic duck, which I had to look up the meaning because I honestly did not know what that meant. It's basically a duck that has sort of human-like behaviours and sort of features, I believe. And this is kind of similar to the other game, but it's a single screen. It does actually scroll a little bit from left to right, so it does differ slightly. And interestingly, even though the moves are here on the screen, it doesn't tell you here you can actually double jump, which is massively necessary to reach some of the higher platforms on each of the levels, so you can then clear each enemy on the stage. There are bonuses as well. There's lots of hidden features, collect them ups, the usual thing. You're really just going about destroying all the enemies as before, but you've just got this kind of boxing glove at your disposal, so you have to get quite close to a lot of the enemies, meaning you'll probably die quite a lot. And I felt that the collision detection is a little bit off in this one, maybe similar to the other game as well, but this is probably a lot worse. And personally, I just felt this one was quite tedious to actually play through. I just couldn't get into it as much as the other game. I just got a little bit bored. It got really tedious. I mean, I think in one of the stages there was like 8 stages on each sort of world, and it was getting really kind of dull, repetitive and boring. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's certainly not a bad game at all, but I just kind of got a bit fed up and bored. There are some, I think there's actually a rocket launcher you can pick up at certain points, which kind of gives a little bit of variety, but I just got a little bit bored. But it's not a bad game. Okay, so moving back to the beat 'em up genre, this is another one-on-one beat 'em up. This is Master's Fury, which I think is somewhat of a sequel to Dragon Master on the console. This one, I think it sort of was on one of the 32-bit consoles. I'm not sure which one it was, whether it was the Saturn or PlayStation, or another one. Not entirely sure. I don't remember it. I'm not sure if it ever got released here, but this one is just as brutally hard as Dragon Master, if not even harder. And just like the other game, I did not make it past stage 1. So I totally apologise for that. I've tried, but I just feel like this game is unbelievably tough. The enemies just seem hell-bent on killing you. Obviously that's the point, but I think the difficult level is just far too high to make it enjoyable, or even, I mean, round 1 should be reasonably sort of difficult, so you can then make some progress, and then maybe come stage 2 it hits you and it gets a lot harder. But the fact that stage 1 is so tough, I can't imagine what the rest of the game is like. And again, I did try a lot of different characters. There definitely seemed to be more variety in the characters in this game, and sort of different moves that you can use at your disposal. And I got really close to even in one in here, but I got frustrated. I'm sure through practice it'll be possible to get through this game, no problem. It's all about practice, I guess, with these games. But I didn't really enjoy it. I just felt really frustrated at my lack of progress, and just frustrated at the sheer difficult level that the game sort of proposes to you. It's unbelievable. And there's a lot to like about it. There's no way that this is a bad game. It's just maybe I'm really bad at playing these particular games. Hopefully when we get the dip switches on Evercade, hopefully some point through this year, I don't know when exactly, but they have been talking about it, and hopefully if we get these dip switches, it should allow us to maybe dumb the difficulty down a little bit, so you can actually enjoy these games rather than being really frustrated playing them. Because there's certainly a good game in here, there's no doubt about it, but this one's just not for me. I just got far too frustrated playing it.
Round 2. Fight! You lose. Yeah.
Okay, changing up the genre completely, we have this top-down shooter called Steel Force, and it certainly reminds me a lot of Alien Breed. It's kind of like an arcade-style Alien Breed, although it's a lot more arcadey, where you just really need to get to the exit, destroy the bosses at each end of level, and then move on to the next world once you've completed that. That's it in its basic terms. You've got grenades, you've got a fire button, that is it. It's so simple. It's even impossible to get lost because you've got red arrows pointing you all the way through the level where you need to go. It's very straightforward. It's totally mindless fun. Very arcadey, total blast. It's absolutely mad fun. I absolutely loved this game. It was great, and I'm pretty sure I'll play this lots more till I actually complete it. What a great time. You've obviously got your time limit there. You've got limited sort of ammo as well. You've got limited grenades, but there's lots of pick 'em ups. There's a lot of side rooms that you need to sort of maybe explore and get different guns, keep your ammo stored up quite high, and that's it. Honestly, there is lots to enjoy about this game. You can just hold down the fire button and continuously fire, but yeah, you need to be aware that the ammo is actually limited, but there's, as you can see, there's lots of ammo littered about the room. There's lots of things you need to be aware of as well that are trying to kill you, and you can clearly see there's no way you can get lost. The red flashing lights here are telling you where to go to the exit, so just keep on moving, shoot everything that you see, get to the end of level boss, then do it all over again onto the next level, which the level sort of variety is quite good. There's different style of bosses. Some bosses reminded me a little bit like Xeno Crisis kind of thing, but wow, what a great game. This is maybe, just might be my favourite game on this collection. I've kind of not really made up my mind what one is my favourite yet, but this one is absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyable stuff. So moving on to The Legend of Silk Road. This is a scrolling beat 'em up. Interestingly, this one is from 1999 in the arcades. And again, just like most of the games in this collection, I've never heard of it, never played it before. Don't remember seeing it in the arcades. Not entirely sure if it ever did get released over here. But this one kind of looks to me, that sort of graphical style, looked more like a kind of a PlayStation game to me. Obviously, it's kind of round about that time period anyway, but it's clearly an arcade game. It's really good fun. You've got the choice of 3 characters. All are a little bit different. They've obviously got different style moves. You've got special moves. There's definitely a lot of different variety of moves that you can do. So you'll need to do a little bit of experimentation with the actual moves themselves. But yeah, this sort of almost like a little tutorial start just to get you used to the controls before you actually move on to the level proper. There's lots of pick 'em ups. There's special moves. As you can see at the top there, you've got the fire, but you can get pick 'em ups and there's lots of different type of special moves that you can utilise throughout the game, so keep an eye on that. But I absolutely love this game. It is quite straightforward. The stages themselves are not massive, but they're really enjoyable. There's lots of variety here. There's lots of different style of enemies, which is nice to see. Lots of variety in the different style of bosses as well, which is absolutely fantastic. This one is definitely one of these hidden gems that I think Evercade are really good at sort of pulling out there and bringing to Evercade and bringing them to more of an audience, which is fantastic. And that's one of the things I definitely signed up for on the Evercade, is playing those games that you probably never heard of before or never played and discovering an absolute classic gem like this, which is really great fun to play. I certainly would love more of this type of thing. This is what I think I signed up for, as I said, on Evercade. I certainly love my indie style games, and it's good to play some of the old classics that you remember, but playing some of these sort of games that you'd never heard of, these hidden gems, is what it's all about for me. This is absolutely great fun to play. Okay, moving on to the last game. This is Ultimate Tennis, and this is obviously switching up the variety massively. A tennis game. Now, we've already got a few tennis games on Evercade, and all of them are really pretty awful. Maybe the Atari tennis game is okay, and that's passable, but the other ones are really horrible games, like Jimmy Connors and All-Star Tennis. I really don't think are great games. However, some people might enjoy them, but for me, I thought they were horrible and unbelievably difficult to pick up. Unplayable games for me, but thankfully this one is much better, and it's certainly much more fun to play. It's certainly not perfect by any means, but it is a really good fun tennis game, and I really actually enjoyed this one. It's not like a full on tennis game, it's obviously an arcade style game, from I think this company's called Art and Magic, which also done the Amiga games. What was they called again? Agony, the sort of shoot 'em up, and the other one was called Unreal. So you might recognise that sort of start there from Amiga if you ever had one. And this is the start is very simple. Start just choose your tennis player that you want. None of them are obviously recognisable tennis players. There's no sort of license issues here. Then you've got a choice of venue as well, where you can obviously play, which I'm guessing it's going to be Wimbledon. You can play the US Open, the French Open, or the Australian Open. That's the kind of idea. Now, it's not a full-on tennis game that we're playing here. It's not you're playing full 3 sets. You've not got a choice of 5 sets, that kind of thing. You've really only got, it's only going to be about 2 or 3 sets maximum, or if obviously it keeps going to a tie break, it'll keep playing till there's an actual winner. But at minimum, you'd be playing 2 sets. So it sort of picks up at the end of the sort of third set where you're obviously drawing, and that's it. You've basically only got 2 or 3 sets to play through here on each sort of stage. You start in the quarter-finals of the tournament, and you can set it to beginner mode if you want to just give you a little bit of tips. But I really enjoyed this game. The ball itself, if you can see it goes green, which indicates when you should when it's best to actually hit the ball. And you've got a few moves. You've got lob, you've got slow hit, and I think it's a slightly more faster hit. And yeah, use the directional arrow to aim where you want to put the ball. But yeah, this game's really good. It looks really nice. The only problem I had was that, yeah, you can see here, it doesn't seem like the players should hit the ball, but somehow they always dive to it. The camera never seems to keep up with the action very well at all. It's all over the place. But regardless of that, this is a good fun tennis game. I don't think we're ever going to get Virtua Tennis on Evercade, never say never, but I think this is alright. This is really playable, it is good fun. I found the quarterfinals and the semi-finals were pretty easy to get through, but once you got to the final itself, I feel the difficult level just suddenly ramped up and it felt almost impossible, so that'll take a little bit of doing to actually win the tournament itself. But I really enjoyed it, it's great fun, and it's a nice bit of variety to this collection.
Youth. Advantage, Smith. Game, Smith. Low. 15 all. 30, 15 low. 40. 15, 40. 30,
Okay, on to my final thoughts of this collection as a whole. I think it's a fantastic collection. There's 9 really good games. There's a lot of games here that you probably haven't played before and most likely haven't even heard of either. And that's not a bad thing, because I've personally thought there's 9 really good games here and I thoroughly enjoyed playing pretty much most of them. Admittedly, I thought Dragon Master and Master's Fury was really tough, not really my thing at all, but that doesn't mean that you wouldn't enjoy it. You might enjoy that type of thing and that challenge. I loved the scrolling beat 'em up, Legend of Silk Road, thought it was fantastic. Fancy World and Magic Purple were kinda similar. They're not bad games at all. They were quite enjoyable. I sort of preferred one over the other, right enough. I really enjoyed Burglar X. It looks weird, it's absolutely bizarre, but it's actually really good fun to play through. And Steel Force was really good fun. That's probably my favourite game of the lot. It's such a blast. It's one of those games you'll just pick up for a few minutes, play it, and then sort of move on and play something else. But it's absolutely fantastic. And also Diver Boy as well was kind of a surprise to me. It's one of those games that's just a little bit bizarre, but it's still really good fun to play. Now, interestingly, this game is certainly better value to me than the Sydney Hunter collection. There's 9 games, obviously 5 more games. There's better variety. I think it'd be a shame if you miss out on this. I know a lot of people are not planning on picking this up, which I hope this video will change your mind, because I think it's absolutely fantastic, and it's definitely got lots of these hidden gems that a lot of people have never played before. So try and pick it up if you like what you see. And anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.
Game, set, match, legend.